everyone, and thank you for attending this week's edition of our Facebook Live. This week I have on the show Robyn Sechler. Hi, Robyn. How are you?
Oh, I am great. Thank you for inviting me today.
Yeah, and I'm so excited to talk about this conversation because kind of how this all came to be is I was going through some of my personal development books and other books I have around the office, and I came across your book. And I was given this by actually an estate planning attorney in Pennsylvania. And the name of the book is How to Change the Light Bulbs When I'm Gone. And it's amazing because this book covers so many things that we don't get into in the estate planning process. When we're putting in place a will, a trust, powers of attorney for a family, we don't get into some of the things like, where do you keep the light bulbs? Right. And I just know for me personally, like if I were to pass away or my spouse were to pass away, there's things that we independently do, turning off the sprinkler system and what day does the garbage go out? I mean, there's some simple things that happen that we just don't talk about. And I handle, she handles. So I'm excited. Maybe let's start with, introduce yourself and then let's hear your story. Like, how did this all come to be?
Yeah. First of all, I have to say I'm really excited that your book lives with your personal development books because it's better than being like stashed in a box in the basement. So
Yeah, no,
thank
that's
you.
right there. It's right there.
Yeah. So as you said, I'm Robyn Sechler. I am the VP of marketing for a company called Good Trust, where we do a lot of, similar things to what you do, Mike, and we can talk about that here a little bit more. If it's okay, I just would like to share the story about how the book came to be and why it even exists today.
Absolutely. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, you'll find that I love to tell stories. It's just part of, who I am and the way that my career path developed. But one of them starts with my dad, and he's been gone now 14 years.
Yeah.
But when he first got his cancer diagnosis, he went to the doctor and he sat across the table like many people do, and the doctor delivered the news, and my dad stood up from that appointment and got into his car and drove to the dollar store. And we're all like, why are we going to the dollar store, And he walked out with this spiral bound notebook, and he took a black marker and he wrote on the front page, "Upon my demise."
Mm.
And the doctors had given him about 6 months to live. We were really lucky, and he lived about 2 years after that appointment. And he carried that notebook with him everywhere he went. And he just wrote down all of the things that he thought my brothers and my mom and I would need to know whenever he passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And, you mentioned the sprinkler system and the trash, and there's more like, what bank accounts do you use, or what banks, and what companies do our utilities come through, and what online accounts do you have, and what kind of food does the dog eat, all of these things that we tend to just do on our own without realizing that other people will need to access this too. And so what I did was I took his book, Upon My Demise, which I said he's been gone 14 years. We still look at this book every winter to make sure that we're doing all of the things that need to be done.
Yeah.
And I turned his book into a fillable format book called How to Change the Light Bulbs When I'm Gone, as I said. And I just like to make a little note of the title, because my dad would say, you're all going to live in the dark when I'm gone because nobody changes the light bulbs around here but me. And I just think it speaks to how easy it is for us to go through our normal day and just do the things without realizing that somebody else will have to do that at some point too.
Yeah, it was genius. Genius for him to do that. What a gift to the family. I mean, I just know, an example that hit me today when I was thinking about having this conversation, I just got a statement from my disability insurance. Like, I forgot I had disability insurance, let alone my wife to know, you know what I mean? Like, there's no way she would know about it other than she would start checking the mail and see what's coming in and like figure out, oh, what's this that we've been paying now 10 years for or whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just what a gift to the family.
Yeah, it's one of those things that in the moment, we had this reaction of like, "Oh, dad, how morbid. Don't do that." You
Hmm.
know? And it's so easy to think, we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to think about that. But I have said that word gift many, many times over the years. Every time I open his book and I think, "Oh, thanks, dad," because it saved us time or money or mistakes that we would have otherwise made. And it truly, his insight was truly a gift for our family.
Yeah. And just to think back about the the time in which your dad passed, it's totally different now. Now there's even more things that are kind of our own, our digital life, right? Like there's so many more passwords and Facebook accounts and TikTok and this and that and all the other things. All banking now is online. I mean, I know in our probate practice, we used to just tell families when they didn't really have a good idea of what was in their parents' estate, watch the mailbox for 30 to 60 days or a quarter, 90 days, you'll pretty much know almost everything your parents had. That is no longer the case. Now that everything's paperless, it's coming to email addresses. Do we have access to the emails? I mean, you see what I mean there, but um, it's just becoming more and more complex to make sure we all have an understanding of all the other things going on outside of someone's estate plan.
Yeah, and it's both easier and harder being in a digital format. We could make an argument both ways. The nice thing is that if you have access to those accounts, you can do it right from home without having to
Mm.
go to somebody's mailbox to get the mail that maybe doesn't live near you or lives in another state or, whatever the circumstance might be. But it also makes it harder because I think they say most people have 100 or maybe it's 110 online accounts, which is 110 username and password
Yeah.
combinations that, sometimes go in one and out the other
Yeah.
because
And
who
and
can
now
remember
all these
all
now all these companies are forcing you to change your password. So your favorite password that you used to use for everything, now you
Yeah,
have like now you have 10 variations of the same similar password. It's just yeah, it's just
yeah,
getting yeah, and then now there's like software to keep track of all your passwords and you need the password for the password software.
right?
Having a place to have all of this stuff is just it's such a great idea. Such a great idea. And then I know
Yeah,
like
yeah.
flipping through the book, I mean, there's some things you don't even think about, like your pets, and making sure that you have like what doctors are treating you, where did you go to the dentist, where do you keep things like your birth certificate, social security card, all these things. I mean, it's a very straightforward way to like get started on having a good like handoff, like I was saying before, like a gift to the family, like fill this out, give it to, make sure we all know where we're keeping our version of it. And it just would be incredibly helpful along with an estate plan if someone were to pass away.
Yeah, exactly. And just like, an estate plan, it's something that you can continue to go back to and refine and refine and refine and change and add more information. Life changes, and certainly the way things look today might be different from a year from now, and you would want to make those updates. And those are easy things to do.
Yeah. So, I mean, it'd be great if there was an online version of this, right? And I know that kind of ties into what you're doing today. Why don't you give us a little of like where this book has taken you? I don't know if it led you to your career today, but give us a little of what you're doing at Good Trust.
Yeah, it is interesting because, I think that many of us can look back at different periods in our life and see how they brought us to where we are today. And this book is certainly one of those things for me. At Good Trust, we do online estate planning alongside a digital vault where you can put all of this information that we're talking about today into a digital format. And that way you can share it across, current and future family members, and only the information that you want to share you can include. And so this way everything becomes, again, available in a digital format. And also, if there are things maybe in the book that you want your daughter to know, but not your brother to know, you can make those selections. So it becomes a little bit
Oh, that's
more
that's
specific.
interesting. I could definitely
Yeah.
see. I have a brother and a sister, so I could definitely see like family members or maybe even key people in your life. Maybe it's your trustee, but they don't need to know where you're keeping the light bulbs per se, but they need a copy of the trust. That's great that you can, divide out like who has access to what. That's a really, really good idea.
Yeah, it also takes it one step further, which I think is an important piece is, we all carry around cell phones in our pockets. And today, you need a court order to get into the cell phone of a loved one who has passed away if you don't have their password.
Mm.
And so, also at Good Trust, we offer the opportunity to secure your information about your phones, laptops, computers, any device that somebody may need to get in. And again, if I wanted that information only to go to my husband, but not to my brother, then, I could specify that. And so it makes it a lot easier later on.
Is there, I should know the answer to this, but is there a way to, I'm sure there's an app, right, as part of it, or you can use it on your phone. It's user friendly on the phone.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
you just take pictures of things as things come in or whatever to upload them to the software.
Yeah, exactly. So our service is available on, phones, computers. It's actually built phone first, which is interesting because we find that 85% of our members can do their entire plan on their phone.
Oh, that's helpful.
And yeah, and like you're saying, you can take a photo and upload any documents that you have that your family might want to or need to have access to. So, insurance policies or financial information or life insurance or any of these documents that your family members might otherwise not be able to find, you can upload that in a digital format and again assign whoever has access to those.
Oh, that could be really helpful. And also with, versus the paper version of the book, the digital version,
Mhm.
as life changes, 5, 10 years ago, everyone was on Facebook. Now everyone's on TikTok, and there'll be new things and ever changing. At one point we were using AOL to dial into the internet, and that is no longer the thing. So
Yeah, exactly.
that's kind of nice in a digital version that it can continue to be updated. That sounds like a very helpful thing for individuals to kind of keep everything consolidated. I like
Yeah,
that.
we spend so much of our time online. I don't see that decreasing anytime soon, but certainly it's nice to have the options. There are people who prefer to write things down in pen and paper, and there's something to that, being able to see somebody's handwriting, right? And then there's the digital format for people who prefer it that way, where, access becomes easy unrelated to where you live in the world. So there's definitely, value in both ways. The key is really putting it in a format that can be accessed by family members to make it easy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know right now I have a bunch of stuff on my computer, right? I have like these folders of like our life insurance and all that. But like, who has the password to my computer? No one. Although, you know what, my wife or actually probably my kids could do the best job of guessing
Uh-huh.
what dad's password is. It's always the oldest birthday. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, they'd get into it eventually, but I think, I could definitely up my game a little bit on the stuff outside of my estate plan of like what my family would have access to, or just to help them along if something were to ever happen to me. It's good
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, now you have to change that password, so don't forget. But
Yeah, right, right. Now it's gonna be the middle daughter.
yeah, exactly.
There's only so many passwords in the world. Um, Hey, Robyn, I want to thank you so much for coming on. A couple things I want to, can you give everyone your contact information if they have questions? How do they reach you?
Yeah, for sure. You can reach me at Robyn, and that's Robyn with a Y, ROBYN, at mygoodtrust.com. That's the easiest
Okay,
way to get.
beautiful. And I've had that scrolling across the bottom the whole time, so you can catch it there. Also, now you know it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a link to Amazon. Is that the best way to get this book?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm going to add a link in the comments so that all of our viewers can get access to this, whether they're watching it here live or somewhere down the line. We'll also share it on YouTube and some of our other social channels. So again, Robyn, want to thank you so much for coming on. I love this. It's such a great counterpart to our estate planning that we do. These are the things that we don't go over when we put in place wills and trusts and powers of attorney and all of that stuff. This is the other stuff that can be a true gift to a family.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. I always appreciate chatting with you. This was great.
Beautiful. All right, everyone, have a great day. And thanks again, Robyn. Take care. Bye.